What's the deal, Pickles? That's staying in the videos. I don't care what you say. I'm saying that from now on. Here is what we got. The motor's gonna be sitting about this far back in the frame. We've still got the engine cradle from the bike connected to the motor. We're gonna leave that on there just for ease of install, and we don't have to make motor mounts and all that. But we do need to make a way to connect it from this frame to the cradle. That's what we're going to be working on today. We're going to be cutting up a bunch of square tube, doing a bunch of welding, a bunch of stripping paint. This paint right here is I swear it's bulletproof. It's made out of like whatever Wolverine was made out of.
Okay, while Colin's getting everything set up with the welder, he's fixing to tack these in. This is the beginning stages of I guess the cage that's going to hold the motor in the rear end. So we got it all clamped in. Put some angle iron there so we'll have an actual flat spot to weld that square tube to. We're going to build it out of. Colin with his fancy welder over there. Shh, don't tell him. I think it's got more buttons than my microwave. Go for it. Alright, well, we got all that tacked together. We're taking the clamps off. Got the long pieces coming back. Got this tacked, and we made sure it's good and square. We got this just to mock up the motor. We're going to set the motor on top of that.
It's not going to be this long.
Yeah.
We made it super long on purpose so that way we have enough room to make the box bigger if we want to for the spool, any type of mounts we want, and then what we have left over we just cut off.
Yep. It's easier to cut a little bit off than to add some, that's for sure.
Pretty much.
I ain't quite figured out how to stretch the metal yet. We ain't got a metal stretcher.
We placed the motor. We're just making sure that we're gonna have enough room for this header. This is crazy. This is actually the stock header that came off of the bike, and we're just gonna flip it over backwards and run it as a Stinger exhaust. We'll have just a short piece here for the muffler to attach to, so it's not this long coming out of it, because that would hurt. It's a little off center, but we'll have to situate that later. Alright, so basically we have been figuring and testing and finagling on this thing, and we finally got the steering column mocked up and all that. I've got to tack it in place. We have to be very careful about this. I'm sitting in it to make sure it doesn't move while I'm doing it. Do not try this at home. Got this tube for the steering welded in, got this cross brace in for that. Now we just gotta, I've done my regular extension trick, and we're just gonna weld this in right here, and we will have front steering. Watch your eyes. All right, John. So what do you think?
This will work.
Yeah, man.
Easy to steer, even sitting still.
Yeah. I'm actually really surprised it's pretty easy to turn. It's feeling a little more real now, ain't it?
I think we have a winner.
Yes, sir.
I got plenty of room right here.
Yep. Plenty of leg room.
Yep. Good enough.
So obviously we don't have the pedals in yet. We're just kind of slap this together real fast just to see how she feels.
Yeah.
So far I'm happy with it. What about you, man?
Yep, that's going to work for me.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we got the steering all the way in. This thing now turns like it's supposed to.
Yeah. Pretty easy to turn, too.
Oh, yeah. The seat, we're not sure if we're going to stick with this, but actually a buddy of ours hooked us up with the seat out of a Geo Tracker. That's crazy. I mean, obviously it sat out in the weather for a little bit, but as nasty as this thing's gonna get, we don't care.
This is probably the cleanest the seat's going to be, so hey.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Moving on back here, we got kind of a subframe started. Trying to get a jump start on getting the motor put in. All this is just tacked up. As you can see, we've kind of started on our driveline. Couple of interesting facts about the rear on this thing. So, right here are Mazda Miata rear axles. This, to be specific, these came out of a 1993 Mazda Miata. These are the rear knuckles out of a Polaris RZR. I believe this one was out of a 800. Yes. These came out of a 800 Polaris RZR. These are the bearings. Oh, I'm sorry. These are the wheel bearings for a Mazda Miata. These are the splined hubs for a Mazda Miata. They press directly into the RZR hubs. Actually got that idea from some guys on YouTube called JD's Garage. I've been seeing a lot of their stuff about the karts from KJ Racing, and they put up a post about this, and I was just like, wow, okay. So went on eBay, picked me up a set of RZR hubs and some bearings and all that for a Miata, and so far so good. So we're gonna try that out and see if it works. We've got a long way to go before we get there, but I think it'll work. What about you, Johnny? You think it'll work?
Yeah, it's gonna work.
It'll work. It's gonna have to work. If you need rear wheels and you're using Miata axles and hubs, Polaris Scrambler wheels. They are 4-on-100. They will bolt right on.
Or if you just ever want to take your Mazda Miata off-road, you know where to buy some now.
That's a good point. You can build a little monster Miata with these. Alright, so now we're just waiting on a couple more parts, and then we can get started on building the rear end for this thing. We're actually pretty stoked about this. It's getting really real now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's starting to look like something.
Yeah, it's not just a pile of scrap parts now. It's actually like...
Yeah, we actually got a steering wheel in it. That made it feel more like a finished product.
Exactly. I'm stoked about it. The front end is done, so we got the seat and all that. I don't know if we're going to keep that seat. We've got a couple other options. We have a long way to go back here, but it's a lot closer than we were when we started. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Make sure you use the link in the description to pick up a t-shirt from MiniBikeApparel. Also, the Rattle Can Customs t-shirts are available now on Stover Customs, so pick one of those up as well. And until next time, y'all get up, get out there, get after it.